Hey everybody, how's it going? This is Jake from Oracle, and welcome to the second community call. In this week's installment, we have this month's installment. Sorry, we have Alexandra, one of the product designers here at Oracle. And first of all, Ali, I really want to thank you because this is a bit of a special week for you since you're traveling. You're in Mad Data at the moment, which I think is for people outside of Portugal. It's famous for Cristiano Ronaldo. I think he's from there. But yeah, thanks a lot because you were traveling and yeah, taking the time to share with us today is really cool. How was the flight, by the way?
Yeah, it was all good. Thank you so much for asking. And hi everyone. It's a pleasure to see you all here. And yeah, I mean, it was a great flight, and it's great to be able to be here and to be with you all.
Nice, cool. So, just before we jump in, I want to give a little bit of a rundown of what we're going to be talking about today. So, after knowing a little bit more about Ali and her background, we're going to jump in to a few wireframes and talk about the design process that we have in motion with regards to Komiser and some of the features that Ali is working on to produce. So we'll go through those features. She'll show us the wireframes. And then we will move on to the key takeaways for last week. And we have a few thanks to give out. And before we finish, we'll just end with a few notable mentions and a bit of housekeeping at the end. But yeah, so let's jump right in. I was just wondering, Ali, could you give us in your own words a bit of your background and tell us what you've done to become the product designer that you are today?
Yes, of course. So I actually started as more of a graphic designer and doing some web design when I finished my degree in design and multimedia. And then I started falling more and more in love with UX and UI, which was the name at the time, so being like a UX and UI designer. And then in the meantime, I actually came across the term and the position of like a product designer, and it actually aligned more with what I was looking for and what I enjoyed doing, which is to help like solve problems on a bigger scale. So instead of just like designing, for example, screens, I would be participating in the problem solving and on the like kind of architecture of the features that we were building. And that's what got me more and more interested. And then I eventually Mohammed reached out to me and presented me Akili and everything that we're trying to build here. And yeah, I mean, it was like I was so interested in the project and everything that I could bring to it that I decided to join.
Nice, really cool. I'm just wondering, since I'm not a product designer and I don't know what it is to go through the motions of that particular position on a day to day, but could you give us a little bit of an overview of what's like the general process that you follow to design the features and what helps you get inspired generally?
Yeah, of course. So my design process, at least at the moment, usually starts from analyzing the PRD, so the product requirements document, and empathizing and with the user and their struggle, which we're trying to solve. So that's the first step for me, trying to understand the problem as best as I can, and to empathize with how we can like make the best experience for them while solving it. From there, I gather references and common UX patterns that I should respect, if possible, from other dev tools, so it's something familiar for the user. And as I do this, I usually start coming up with ideas that I want to explore, and then that's when I start designing some like rough drafts from them. So things that I think that would help solve the problem, but in a more like loose way and experimental way. After I skim through them and I get feedback from the team as well, which is always very valuable, I start exploring the idea which seems to solve the problem best in more detail and designing all the necessary screens and the flows and taking into account important edge cases that the user might come across. And then it's all about the feedback and refinement so we can ship it out as soon as possible.
Cool, deadly. And like, if I'm not mistaken, this is one of the first tools or projects that you've been working on, which is based around developing a dev tool, right? So our target audience are developers, DevOps engineers, SREs. So we're helping their life out, right? And have you seen that there's a big difference between developing features and coming up with designs that's based for dev tools as opposed to working for projects that maybe has a different kind of end user in mind? Is there a difference that you've had to adapt to develop dev tools?
Yes, I think so, definitely. There's context is very important in design, and design comes a lot from gathering references and knowing how to apply them and to reutilize them in certain contexts. So having a better context of what we're building definitely helps in the design process. And building a dev tool basically allows me to have a closer contact to the users, since design also belongs to the tech space and the tools that we use, even though they're different in function, they have similar like interfaces or aim for some same level of experience, I would say. And also, I mean, I'm not like a DevOps engineer, but I have like worked in like front end development, for example. So it does help a lot with the connection and the understanding that is so needed for the design process.
Yeah, because I suppose like at any stage or in any department, like I see that a lot as a community developer. It helps so much that to have that experience and that background to be able to understand the problems. Because only when you understand the problems can you really kind of help to create an efficient solution. But yeah, cool. So thanks a million for that. I don't want to take too much time from your presentation that you have ready for us. So I think you're going to be talking to us about a couple of wireframes, a couple of features around Komiser. So whenever you want, feel free to take it away and share with us.
Thank you so much. Yes, so we'll start with Komiser, as you've mentioned. If I can just here. I wanted to show the work that we've been doing with the dashboard in the inventory revamp. So this is how Komiser is looking at the moment, and I'm going to be showing you the changes that we mean to make in the next few days. So this is the new layout for the dashboard. So it's exactly the same page with pretty much the same features. It's just been reorganized so that it's easier to navigate through and to consult the information that we're trying to present to the users. So we have a dashboard overview. We'll be introducing filters later on. So this is a bit of an Easter egg. And we have the regions, the resources, the bill. We try to make it more visual to see how the cost is changing from month to month, for example. The cloud service map now is like a bit smaller, but can be enlarged to be full screen so the user can take advantage and can see it in more detail if needed. We've also improved the monthly cost breakdown graph. So there's actually ways to like scheme through the costs now, like by provider, by the service, by region, and we'll be introducing tags as well. And also the cost explorer along the months, like we try to take more advantage of the space by moving the navigation up. And that way it becomes easier to keep track of the spend of each month. And then the inventory page, this also like matches what we have in Oracle as well, in a way. And again, we try to take more advantage of the horizontal space. To keep the widgets at the top, we'll be implementing filters that actually affect these widgets. So we're trying to make it more global, like the changes that we're making, the searches that we're making actually affect the page. So it's easier to skim through the information. We're also implementing infinite scrolling, to make it easier to go through all the different resources that the user might have. And another thing that we're introducing is actually the tags column. So it's easier to see the tags associated with each resource from the inventory. So trying to make the information more accessible to the user.
Yeah, and
And yeah,
sorry
sorry.
to interrupt you there, but just about the tag, since it's one of the coolest features that we're putting into the inventory page. Just to note, right, that these tags could be tags that we actually configure from the Komiser dashboard, but they can also be the tags that the users have configured in their cloud provider, right? And they'll show up here. I really like what you did here because since we have a limited amount of space on the actual dashboard, then the tag that shows up will actually be a number, right? Associated to the amount of tags that are there, and then once we hover over, we'll be able to then kind of see what tags are associated. But it was kind of like really nifty what you did there with the icon. Really cool.
Yeah, I mean, there's actually like a bubble which I'll show afterwards that shows exactly what you were saying of being able to see like multiple tags and how many are associated with each resource. And again, we are always looking forward to improving our interface and our user experience. So feel free to drop any ideas that you might have and that you'd like to share with us because we're always willing to experiment and to try to make the platform better for you. Uh, in this like comes to the users, and that's what I mean.
Yeah, exactly. Like user feedback is always beneficial to us and always welcome. So yeah, please do.
Definitely. So should we move forward to the other feature?
Yeah, please. Yeah, this looks great, and yeah, let's move on.
So for this one, I'll actually be sharing the actual Figma file because again, this is not prototyped yet. It's still an experimentation that we're working on, but we wanted to share with the community and to hear the thoughts that you might have to share with us. So here you can actually see the tag number, which Jake was mentioning earlier. So it's easier to see when the resource has multiple tags, for example. And what we're experimenting here is with the filters. So the idea is that the user can actually filter the resources that they're seeing by different sort of fields. So you have, for example, the cloud provider, the cloud account, the cloud region, the cloud service, and the tag. And yeah, basically you can like try to see like what you'd like to see. Is it the if the cloud provider is AWS or if it's not AWS, for example. So we're trying to make it as flexible as we can and as easy as we can for the user to skim through all the information that they might have on the inventory and all the resources that they have to go through. And something that we're also introducing is like multiple filters at the same time so that the user can actually like set up multiple filters and see the results come up as these filters have been set. And later on, what we plan to do is to be able to save these filters as a view. So, for example, if on your work you usually need to check like multiple times specific sort of filters, like you're always trying to find the same sort of resources and trying to keep track of them, this should make it easier because then you can just switch between the views and see exactly what you're looking for.
Super powerful. We've already had a few conversations with a few users. Some of you are here, in which we've seen the power of that, right? So to be able to mix and match multiple filters, to be able to get down to quite a granular level the resources that we're looking for, and then to be able to save it as a view, to then be able to quickly go and access it every time we access Komiser. Super powerful. Very cool.
Yes, and we know that managing multiple resources across multiple cloud providers and accounts can prove to be very difficult. So obviously we look forward to simplifying that process as much as we can. And obviously anyone can be a part of it and contribute to it.
Exactly,
And
exactly.
and we obviously like we came this far because of feedback as well. So we also like to thank uh, those who have like contributed and gave their feedback so we could reach this place.
Yeah, no, exactly. And just to mention that this, in essence, right, is a precursor to the end goal, or at least one of the end goals for one of these features, which is to be able to fully give users custom dashboards, right, and custom views into their environments cross cloud accounts. And of course, this is the first step, because we, by selecting these resources and then saving the view and to have it quickly accessible, that's one way that we can segment and have clear views into the costs related to the particular groupings inside of our environment. But then the idea, right, in the future is to develop this to be able to give the user more freedom into creating their own dashboards, customizing their own widgets to kind of like go even further, to have like rich dashboards. But that's kind of getting ahead of ourselves. But it's I think it's interesting just to mention, since this falls into that context of the first step as we move towards that. So cool. Anything else to mention here?
No, I don't think so. I think in terms of the what we had to showcase, this was it, and this is what we're working on at the moment. So these might not be the final look of the feature. This is also something to keep in mind. It's something we're still exploring and design-wise. But yeah, obviously we wanted to share it with you and hear any feedback that you might have for us. But that's it for me.
Perfect. Thanks a million. So, really, really cool. Yeah, just to mention that those are the specific wireframes for that specific feature. But maybe in a future community call, when it's a little bit more developed, we can see what that custom view is actually going to look like. Right away, I just want to give thanks to Swami and his team, because you have helped us form one of the or some of the key features that we would like to offer in this initial offering of the custom view, because it's going to be really important, as you mentioned, to be able to edit those custom views. So since it's not ready, we're not showcasing it just yet. But just so you know, it's going to be very important for us to be able to offer those customizable, editable custom views, because we might understand that even though you might filter by a tag or by a cloud region, there might be resources that fall into that filter that maybe you want to exclude. So that's something that's really helpful, to be able to edit those out and to really have the custom view that is 100% customized to what you want to see. So perfect. Ali, thanks a million for sharing that. That was really, really cool. Just moving on to the key takeaways of last week, at least on the community side, is last week was pretty marked by two user interviews that we had with Abby and Venkat from the InfoLabs team. They contacted us to be able to contribute to Komiser by creating the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure integration with Komiser. We're very happy to be able to collaborate with them, because their in their environment and their organization works with clients that are based 100% in OCI, and it was going to be very, very helpful for them to have that integration. So it's going to be a good experience to collaborate with this team, to be able to bring about a big additional cloud provider that at the moment isn't present on Komiser. They also gave us some very cool insight around the FinOps framework and how they are trying to apply it to the projects and to the clients that they have. And after going through it, we've noticed that that FinOps framework is very aligned with what we're trying to do at Komiser. So it's going to be a mark, or it's going to at least be present in a lot of the features that we're going to put out in the future. Another notable mention is Swami and Manivanan from the Halodoc team. Thanks a million, because last week's user interview, in which we touched on tag management, um, kind of the opinions that you had around tag management, to be able to format and to visualize the tags in a certain way that would respect the key value pair and distinguish the tags, was very helpful. Also, we touched upon the fact that we can edit those custom views, was also very, very helpful. So the HelloDoc team has just been absolutely stellar when it comes to user feedback. So thanks a million again for that. Just to mention, Komiser, as a company and as a platform, we really try to make the platform as useful as possible. So if you have the time and if you have an opinion to give, please feel free to reach out, like the InfoLabs team and HelloDoc has in the past, to give us your opinion, because we'll be very happy to hear it. And if it makes sense, we will definitely try to apply it as quickly as possible, because we're really in the market of making people's lives easier, mainly DevOps engineers and developers. So if we can, we definitely will. So don't be shy and reach out to us. I think we don't want to take that much more of your time today. One last mention is that we're still actively hiring for the front end engineer and the back end engineer position, respectively. So if you feel like joining the team and building a really cool dev tool around making the cloud cheaper, safer, and just generally more easy to use, feel free to reach out to us. We'll be happy to have a conversation and to see how you can fit on the team. So I think that's pretty much it from us right today, Allie. So thanks a million. Any last words?
Just thank you for those who have joined. Thank you so much for the feedback that we have received. Just echoing your words, Jake. And obviously, I look forward to the next community call and everything that we'll have to share by then.
Exactly. See you all the last Friday of next month. Ali, enjoy your time in Madeira. I've heard the weather isn't that good, but at least you're with your friends, so I'm sure you'll have a good time.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'll definitely enjoy myself.
Okay. Bye, everyone. Thanks.
Bye.